Welcome to the Friday edition of Juan's World, and changing gears a little bit today into the future, as I suggested last Friday. That is, I'm going to be starting a project, or in fact I've already begun a little bit of it, called The Street Life of Phnom Penh. It's going to be a video series and a book. And I'm just getting my ducks in a row, and so today's video is going to be talking about how I'm going about planning, which includes co-opting some Khmer people to help me, because I'm an outsider. I don't know a lot about things having to do with street life in Phnom Penh. That's not to say I don't know anything. I mean, I know a lot, but I need an insider to say, okay, you think this, but you're not quite right about that, or yes, you've documented this, but you also need to add this, and so on and so forth. The usual kind of stuff for an ethnographer. So today what I'm going to do is just going to show you a few clips of things I've done already and the kinds of things that I've had to figure out. So let's get started. Now, the first thing that I talked a little bit about last time, and I'll talk a little bit more about now, is the issue of how to make a video such that it's entertaining and aesthetically pleasing, as well as being informative. That's an interesting dilemma within anthropology when it comes to visual anthropology. When I take photographs, do they have to be pretty to look at, or do they have to tell you something? Having to tell you something is the priority, but pretty to look at is important too. You've got to get people interested. They're not going to be interested in a photo that, even though it contains a lot of information, it doesn't appeal to them. So with videography, the issue comes down to whether or not you want a handheld camera to show all of the movement, all the shaking of you walking. And I'm showing some clips of me doing some walking around and bumping up and down. Do you want to do that, which is real? I mean, when you walk, you bounce up and down, but you don't see the world bouncing up and down when you're walking. So the video is in a sense lying. I mean, it's or being too honest or something like that. So one thing that you have to decide is whether you want to get rid of this camera shake. And as I mentioned last time, I bought a gimbal, which is handheld, and when you lock the camera into the gimbal, it compensates for all of the movement. So that when you walk around, as I'm doing now, you'll see that there's no shake. I'm trying to replicate the video from with the shake and the video in the same place now, although I can't quite replicate it, but you get the idea. So the gimbal is one possibility. Another possibility is to use an app, and I've got one called Filmora, by Wondershare, and you put in a video that you've done that has a certain amount of shake into it, and Filmora eliminates the shake, or eliminates as much as you want. You can eliminate anything from hypothetically none to hypothetically 100%. Although the more you eliminate, the more you lose some quality in the video. So I'm showing you here a bicycle ride which I took, which has a lot of shake in it. And what I can do, I'm not going to show it now because it's superfluous, but I can put this video into Filmora, and in fact I have done that. But it's got a watermark on it right now because I haven't paid for it, so I don't want to show you a cleaned up video but with a watermark on it. But I can take that shake out, and that makes it a little bit easier to view. And you'll see on this one, I'm riding my bicycle from where I used to teach in the south of Phnom Penh up through the road beside the airport, and that road contains a tremendous number of outlets for religious statues and just religious stuff in general, shrines and whatnot, which you can see here. So I'm going to do one of two things for each district within Phnom Penh. I'm either going to walk around and like show exemplary areas, like this, for example, is Tol Tok, and this is what the buildings look like, but this is Sen Sok, and it looks like this, and so forth. I mean, I can do that, or I can ride my bicycle around. And I'm not really, at this point, concerned about either. I just have to get my act together and do it. So today what I'm going to just give you a little taster of is what I am calling Market Street. That is, in some districts, the ones that are sort of middle income to low income, more towards the center of the city than to the outskirts, like where there are dense population centers by Cambodian standards. I mean, they're not dense by Chinese standards, for example, at all, but by Cambodian standards, they're fairly well populated. And you can see as I'm wandering around here, the people selling fruit and vegetables and meat are set up on the street, and certain busy days like Sundays, as I showed you last time, you've got hundreds and hundreds of vendors all in one area, all selling fresh food as well as other things like clothing, some shoes and scarves and so forth, but a lot of food. And I'm interested to know why people would go to these vendors and not to shops. Like I get my meat from a supermarket, and the reason I do is because I want to have it refrigerated. All this meat is sitting out in the open air. It's roughly 33, 34 degrees centigrade during the day, and the meat is hanging or sitting out all day. And a little concerned about that, but most people aren't. And I think that they mostly do it because it's cheaper. And they don't get sick, which is fine. And maybe I wouldn't either, but I'm not risking it. So this is what a street market looks like. And eventually, in my research, I will talk to the vendors and find out like where they get their products from. I mean, some of them actually grow their own vegetables or fruit or pick them. Some of them get them from wholesale distributors. Same with meat. Some of them grow their chickens or pigs in the countryside and butcher them and bring them in, and some of them go to wholesalers. So I want to get the flavor of the streets of Phnom Penh. That's my goal. And I want to do it not only in the classic way of ethnographers of writing about it, but of seeing it, of actually looking at how it appears to the eye when you are there. I'm afraid I can't give you the smells and the tastes, That's too much. But you can at least see what I see on a day-to-day basis, if I care to. So that's the Straits of Phnom Penh, or the street life of Phnom Penh. We'll do this, I think, every Friday and possibly most Tuesdays as well. I'm not sure. It's going to depend on how much I can get active with this, and how and how comfortable I am with my gimbal, which right now I'm still fighting, and the gimbal's winning most days. So anyway, tell your friends about my videos. Please like, please subscribe, and I will see you on Tuesday. Have a good weekend.